Well, as I leave Dubai, then inevitably I'm thinking about what's changed over the last year since I was last at a COP. And as an Englishman, I'd have to say, well, it's been a game of two halves. Well, I'll start with the positive because I'm a boomer, not a doomer. And for me, that's been in the renewable space. Over the last decade or so, the cost of wind and solar has dropped by over 80%. And as such, it's now very credible that we would triple the level of renewable production over the next 7 years to 2030 to the point where we reduce the level of CO2 emissions by 8 trillion tonnes. That's 20% of today's emissions. And indeed last year over 89% of new generating capacity was already in renewables. China has led the way. Maybe not fashionable to say so, but actually China's produced as much new solar capacity as the rest of the world put together last year and is on track to do the same again this year, leveraging the benefits they have around the major desert areas and the sparsely populated areas. America's tried, and Biden's tried with the Inflation Reduction Act, but with the planning restrictions in the US, it still falls behind other countries. Now, whilst solar has led the way and wind has been a strong supporter, this year's COP has shown the first major rise of nuclear as a force to be considered. With small modular reactors, it is now believed that nuclear could also treble its level of usage and provision over the next 7 years to 2030, as those SMRs become smaller, lower cost, more adaptable, and we can start to use nuclear more broadly. Now, there have been other positives as well I take from this event. Hundreds of different use cases for AI, which of course I am a great advocate. And it's great to see the two movements of our time, AI and sustainability, coming together so closely, where AI can improve every aspect of our society in terms of energy management and CO2 emissions. An example came up yesterday from Google where they were talking about traffic management and saying that over 10% of traffic emissions could be reduced simply by using AI to optimize the timing of traffic lights and reduce journey times by 20% at the same time. There have been many other positives from this event, whether it's the 700 million put into the loss and damage fund, where it's the agreements to reduce methane emissions, and also the rise of blended finance and the involvement of the banks to fund the necessary projects going forward, using a blended finance with governments, with industries, with wealthy individuals to make it happen. Example being the 30 billion fund that UAE created called Altera. Now, that said, this event started with a stock take, and the stock take showed that we were certainly not on track for the aims of the Paris Agreement. We would not limit temperature increases to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels, but we're heading for something more like 2.8, and that would be disastrous for humans, for our planet, for biodiversity. To get to the target, we have to take a stronger action on fossil fuels. In the next few days, we'll find out what the agreement is, but it needs to be a phase out, not simply a phase down, and we cannot use the hopes that we all have for carbon capture and storage to hide behind, because that's going to be too little too late, even though it's something that we all want to really progress. And we're off track elsewhere. We're not on track in transportation, aviation, food, agriculture, industry. Broadly across the piece, we've got more work to be done. But there are many good examples from this COP, and we now need to scale those good examples so that we can actually make some real progress. We all have a part to play. All companies take oil out of the ground because we consume it. So our choices matter. Every day we need to make the right choices and each contribute towards this. The time for debate is over. The time for action is now. Thank you.